The AMAWay. Driving down Route 11 to Fort Defiance, Virginia, young boys would catch sight of stone gates, and an array of emotions would begin to overcome these soon-to-be AMA cadets as they started their journey towards graduation.
Nervous. I think the school looked much bigger than it was when I first went there. When my mom and dad left the room, I took a big gulp and said, I hope I've done the right thing.
But my mother kept asking me, do you really want to go? And I didn't want to say no, so I kept saying yes. And so by the middle of September, I found myself at Augusta Military Academy.
My dad attended there years before, and he felt that I should have the AMA experience. It took me to the front door. Some senior cadet grabbed me, and I said goodbye to my mother, and they hauled me in, and from then on I was a rat for a year. It was a very interesting experience.
Your first year at AMA, you were a first-year cadet, which meant that you were subject to being bossed around by everybody who had been there more than 1 year. And you were even required to stay off the grass. And when you would take a corner, you couldn't just walk around it. You had to do it in military style.
If you were at the dinner table and one of the upperclassmen wanted you to eat a square meal, you ate a square meal. And you learn to get along with people.
The first time parents were allowed back on campus was in October. So they dropped the kid off in late August and not see him until usually the second or third week in October, Parents' Weekend. A lot of parents walked right past their kid and did not recognize him.
It taught you reliance on yourself, that you don't say, woe is me, I can't do it. You would always try to work to find a way to get it done.
My crucible was at AMA. That's where you have to gain your independence. I mean, that's where you have to gain your self-reliance. That's where you have to learn how to forge friendships, personal relations. You got to figure it out. You got to figure out how to get along with your peers.
Colonel Roller, well, I knew him as Colonel then. We call him the big boy. He was in charge. And if you didn't believe he was in charge, you would go up there and he would explain it to you. He had my utmost respect.
Colonel Roller was a mentor to everybody because he gave you instructions and you followed them, and he wanted things done a certain way.
He didn't get mad too often, but when he did, he got mad. He loved these cadets. He used to have a saying that there's no bad boy.
Oh, he was a character. He would patrol at nighttime. He had this old car, and he would drive around the barracks and checking on things and all that sort of thing.
I guess my favorite teacher was Big Boy, he ran the study hall, but he had such a manner about him, Charlie Roller, that you just liked him. You liked him.
Faculty members that helped shape these young men.
Colonel Hoover, Colonel Savage, Coach Josephson, Colonel Rapp, Colonel Livick.
Savage was my friend. He was my mentor. Cy McHugh was probably one of the brightest of the faculty that I've ever been exposed to.
Colonel Paul Hoover, he came in the early 40s, and he was there till the school closed. Had a temper, had a bad temper, and could use some very colorful words.
Mr. Nate Parkins, who taught French. If a student started dozing in his class or doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing, Uncle Nate could hit him with a chalk from anywhere in the room, that student would get alert in a hurry. You knew that they had your best interests at heart.
In the early 50s, we used to play football against us, Stanton Military Academy. Well, one day, out on the Stanton field, the bleachers, the football teams and the bleachers all met in the middle for a free fall, and they had to call the fire department to break them all up. It was just pure and simple pride, just school pride. And
we had a great coach, Jerry Claiborne. He was an inspiration, and he was a very religious sort of man.
We had a drill team called the Roller Rifles, which were named after my wife's father.
To be in the Roller Rifles was one of the high points of your career at AMA.
The dress parades became a well-known tradition around the area, and they were just one of many traditions that were a major part of the AMA way.
The traditions were you went to church. We had Founders Day.
They also saluted all the cars on Route 11 went by.
The one thing that stands out in my memory about AMA was the honor system, that really meant something.
Taught you to be a young man who relied on yourself, your character meant a lot.